It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer that I've wanted to review for such a long time. It's Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, coming in at 4.6% ABV in a 330ml can. Let's get it out into a glass, see what we get. Nice little bit of smoke on the can opening. Beer in the glass then. It's a light lager. It's just I've always kind of, every now and again, see it in a bottle shop and go, I need to review that just to get it on the channel for people to see. And I've always been intrigued to try it, even though it's a light lager. And there's quite an interesting story to it, which I'll get to in a moment. First of all, the beer review. We've got a one finger whitehead, straw coloured beer, American light lager, lots of carbonation, and it's unfiltered. There's sediment there, like floating around in the glass. Let's get the aroma. American light lager, you know, it's with a cult following. That's what I'm going to get to, with a cult following. Wafer biscuits, light kind of lemony, malty. It's like, yeah, wafer biscuit, light kind of biscuit aromas with a lemony, spicy, peppery finish on the aroma. Let's dive in. Cheers, everyone. That's okay. It's okay. It's wet, it's drinkable, it's refreshing. It's designed for a certain market. It probably tastes no different to Budweiser. I mean the cult who follow this beer, which I promise to get to anytime soon, because it's a very interesting story, I find. They'll argue a case that this tastes different to Miller or this tastes different to Bud's. It's all very, very similar, kind of light yellow coloured lager that's built to refresh. And it does that. It does that. There's a little bit of kind of sweetness to begin with, the malt, maybe the rice and the corn, and then there's a little bit of bitterness on the back end from the hops they've used, which is quite spicy, peppery, and a little bit of a kind of a lemony aroma coming on and flavour. No great shakes, nothing really to kind of start shouting about, you know, stone the crows, that type of thing. It's just an American light lager. Now the story I wanted to get to with this beer is they struggled for a long time, this brewery. Struggled and struggled. I think they initially did really well, and then sales started to fall to the point where they were nearly at bankruptcy. I think that was in the 80s or 90s, according to this video I watched on YouTube. And then something quite remarkable happened. Right at the death, just as they were kind of going through their worst stage of selling beer as a company, this beer as a company, they employed a salesman, and this salesman did something quite different with the brand. They had no money for real kind of advertising on television. All of that was gone. They lost their market share. So this salesman just threw a load of hats in the back of the car, a load of t-shirts, glasses, kind of beers, cans, and that sort of thing, memorabilia from the brewery, what they had. And he started targeting young, hipster-like trendy bars in America. And he'd give them a can of beer to try, and he'd give them a hat or a t-shirt. And these people started wearing these hats and t-shirts, and it slowly but surely over time become a bit of a kind of chic brand, a cool brand, something which the youngsters wanted to be associated with. And then with that working, he moved from state to state doing the same thing, hitting the trendy hip young bars, giving out hats and scarves and t-shirts and so forth, until the sales they went completely crazy. I think they beat their original brewery goals where they were selling beer. I think they were selling more beer than they ever were. And I think because of this salesman, I think he's like massively famous now within the company, and I think he's probably got a lot of shares now in the company. They gave him part of the brewery with his success, and it just shows, doesn't it? Don't give up, really. Don't. This is a true American grit story of never give up, keep trying, even though things are in a bad way, until you get to the other side. And they definitely got to the other side. Did Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. I've been looking at the side of the can for the actual, it must be Pabst, oh there we are, Pabst Brewing Company, since 1844, sorry. That's my little story for Pabst Blue Ribbon. A light, drinkable, straw-coloured American lager. You could smash 4 of these at a barbecue, Sunday afternoon drinking. Yeah, good stuff. It's a refresher. It's an after-work refresher of a beer. It'll never be the greatest beer in the world. It'll never be the worst beer in the world. It's a proper refresher. I like it. I do. I like it just for the battle, the story, the battle, the willingness to continue to fight on. A bit like this channel, really. I mean, we upload twice a day, against all odds. Against all odds, we do at least 2 uploads a day. I'm kind of just waiting for the youngsters who got into YouTube at an early age, at 10, they're now 20, to start drinking craft beer, and I think the channel's got a very good chance of success. I can see that long-term goal. I can see that long-term success down the road. It's trying to swim and stay swimming, stay above water before it all happens. So this story inspired me. Rating. What did I... just thinking back if I rated it. It's a 6 out of 10. It's a 6 out of 10, no more. I like the beer more for the story. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom! Cheers.